Good afternoon, Postal Family. How's everybody doing? My name is Saeed. Welcome back to my channel. What's happening on this Thursday? Free Talk Thursday. My weekly thing that I do on my day off, just to have some time to talk on. Anyway, today's topic, what I'm discussing is every day what carriers go through. It's very frustrating as we get in the morning. We start casing our route. Then our supervisor comes around, gives us time. Whatever tells us extra time you have and what your projections are for the day. And then on throughout the day, you're being pressured into rushing. Just wanted to get into that a little bit, why that is and why it's so, it hurts us, makes us angry, all that good stuff. But first, if you're new to the channel, my name is Saeed. Postal content is what I do, love to do. Thanks everybody for all the support. I can't appreciate you guys enough, how much y'all do for me. Keep giving me the thumbs up, smash that hype button. And like I said, thank you guys, everything for the comments. Keep them coming. Whatever suggestions, whatever thoughts you guys want to share, everything, I welcome it. You guys share your stories in your different post offices on your daily lives throughout the country. That's awesome. I love reading all that stuff, just helps the mind out. You learn something, what others go through is just interesting. Awesome stuff, man. Everything I say on here is from my views, my research. I don't speak on behalf of USPS, Post Office in any of my videos. So again, what I'm discussing, the pressure from management to get your job done in a quicker fashion. Why that is. Our system is so old or hasn't been updated. The system they use shows the carrier's projection for the day, and they balance it out, as to what the carrier actually does for like 6 weeks prior. And so this projection does not take into account the travel time, the weather, the customers if you run into, and different scenarios where you're gonna get backed up. So it has a lot to do with their bonuses, their performance, and it's just the way it works out. For example, a supervisor, he's tracking you, and inside he knows, because that supervisor been a carrier, he been through all of it, so he knows this such and such carrier is not going to meet their goal. For example, they have them for 8 hours, but the carrier put in a 96 saying no, it's going to be like more than 8:45, 9 hours. So now that supervisor is held accountable for that carrier making the 8 hours. So what they got to do, that gap is gonna ultimately, that supervisor knows that this carrier ain't gonna make it, but they have to make some kind of effort to look good under their bosses, because they're constantly being pushed into making less and less time for the carriers. That's all they do. The system, that's what it tells them to keep pressuring those carriers to make get done with their routes quickly. It has to do with bonuses, all that stuff. So it's really bugs us carriers out there. When you're doing your route, you ain't gonna make the 8 hours, but if you're receiving those calls from your supervisor saying to rush, it's at some point it starts getting really, you got to call your union shop steward, and the supervisor ultimately is held accountable, but they shouldn't be, because it should be leniency, but there is none. That word doesn't exist in post office. So even if the supervisor is good or has been a carrier in their own past, they have to kind of get, you have to call you and different things to try to get you to hurry up. Unfortunately, the system is designed that way. It shouldn't be, but us carriers you all know what I'm talking about. You're being rushed every day, and it gets so ridiculous, man. Like the system needs upgrading as to where it's not going to be upgraded. This system is going to stay that way because that's how just the post office likes it or wants it. The pressure is always going to be there. Doesn't matter you're a new CCA or a 15, 20-year-old veteran. I've seen people who are about to retire get hurt. Like, you need to finish your route in 8 hours, but they're putting in the 96 saying they can't do it because it's all the projection they're going by. What they're looking at the screen. Some of them, like I said, have been previously carriers, so they know that's not possible. But they're the supervisor right now. So being a supervisor comes with the responsibility to try to get these carriers to hurry up and get done, rush their routes. But the carrier knows, like for me, example, I know I'm not gonna rush my route because it's gonna hurt my numbers on the route, and I don't want nothing like that. So if you're a veteran carrier, you figure these things out as you go along. There's no way. Some carriers really don't care. They rush the route, they destroy the numbers of it. But once I've been told, once route inspections come, they end up losing those routes simply because they didn't worry about their routes they were on. They rushed the route every day. Their numbers were, the numbers were showing them, destroying their route as to where, like, for example, the projection is 8 hours every day on their route, but they're getting done in 6.5 or 5. Where does that leave the poor route? It's gonna be taken away and absorbed into other routes, unfortunately. So it really depends on the carrier, how they're running the route. And those of us that love our routes, respect our routes, we're not going to do anything like that to it. We're not going to rush a certain day because such and such tells us you got to rush and finish. Your projection is 8, but you answer them, you put in a 96 saying you can't do it in 8. So where does that leave the supervisor? They're in a bind sitting there because they're answering to their manager. So it's like a trickle down effect. The pressure comes from the top, goes to the postmaster to the various managers in the district, and then to the supervisors, etc. So comes down to the carrier. So just wanted to talk a little bit. This scenario is really, really hurts, especially the CCAs. Now, if you take calls from your supervisor or you block them out entirely, they have different ways. They'll come out on the street and talk to you right there and then stop you and say, look, how much more you got? You're gonna tell them whatever, you got 2 hours left. They're gonna say, no, we need you to get done in 1 hour. So they have different tactics. Now, if you do receive the call, answer calls, you respect them as such. They're gonna add different things. They're gonna try to make it sweet for you, like, I had you doing 8, why aren't you doing 8? So but in any scenario, you're a professional mail carrier, you're gonna answer with respect to your route. You're not gonna rush it. You're gonna say the actual what it's gonna take. You're not gonna make the 8 hours. That's the way to stand it. Any LC is behind us all the way. So, it's just very frustrating. A lot of things as carriers we go through, and I'm just trying to bring in a perspective where the supervisors is coming from, their managers are coming from. The system is designed that way, unfortunately. I don't know who designed it this way decades ago, but it's really, really gets to certain carriers, that any given day, well, every day you're pressured like this. There's not a single day that passes that, you don't have to answer and saying how much time you're going to be on the route. It's just designed that way for them to get their bonuses, performance, and all that. So it gets a lot of carriers ticked off, angry, and there's no way around it. That's just how the system is. You got to work daily. You got to stay calm. Those a lot of carriers I've seen lose it, and me being one of them. When I was new, I used to really, get really angry real quick, But being angry as a carrier doesn't do no good. They just if you lose your patience right there in the station before going on the route, they just yell out for your NALC shop steward. Shop steward comes by, says cool down, relax, whatever deep breaths you got to do to calm down, and all they say is fill out the 96. I love them shop stewards, man. They know how to cool you down, and they point you to a 96, all you can do. And now if you get calls all throughout the day to rush, that's up to you to answer them. They come out physically to talk to you, like, why aren't you making 8? You got to tell them straight up there. You got to stand up for yourself and say, look, this amount of mail volume. They're going to say mail volume is down. We see you doing 8 hours. There's no excuses. You don't have enough packages. That just means you're going to have to rush to make that. Now, some carriers, like I said, fall for it, and they don't understand how much they're hurting their routes on that when they do rush like that. Well, some carriers, there's all depending who you're talking about. A lot of carriers don't take ownership on the route they're on. They're just there as a job, a check. They don't care about the route. They don't care it's going to be observed when the route inspection team comes. And some are really caring. They take care of their route. They don't rush it. So, their times are straightforward, normal. They protect themselves. Those are the good carriers. They know what to do. But to each his own, I say, at the end of the day. When your route is observed and you're standing there with, you got a rebid or whatever options available, then they're going to think back like, hey, I used to rush it months at a time. Why did I do that? It's simple. Stop and think to yourself, what's your route time? If you can't do it, you can't do it. Nobody's going to physically come and, say, well, physically they will come out if you're not answering their phone, but you're just going to say, look, I put in the 96 and I can't do it in 8. Then they might send some help to you. So if you're on your own route and the time is taken, that's a grievance in itself. Because if they give you extra time, they can take that time off of you. But anything from your own route, they cannot take. So that's a grievance. So just wanted to take some time on this Thursday, talk what's happening, what's going on with all this pressure that's been going on for nearly forever. I just wanted to discuss it, different things I face, and I see other carriers losing it, getting all bent up about it, right in front. I mean, obviously the system is flawed. It shouldn't be designed that way to pressure management into pressuring the carriers to rush back. Everybody, well, that's in any company, systematic. Once a company is designed, you want to get most of the work done as quickly as possible so you can profit on the back end the most. That's a model designed for any business. You want to get the job done quickly so you can save more money and profit more. But we're just looking at the post office and how the system itself is designed as to where it makes a supervisor look bad. Even they don't have no choice. They're looking at going by a system. They're getting pressured by their above. Your local manager is getting pressured by the district manager. So, like I said, it's a trickle down effect. And who's gonna stop and overhaul the whole system? It's not gonna happen. It's been there for decades. It's just gone a little bit upgrading, and it's not fun for the carriers. Every day in the morning, you look at your mail, you look at your packages, and then your supervisor comes around saying, okay, you have such and such, and I need you back in such and such, and you go and fill out the 96, say you ain't gonna make it, so you gotta answer. That's just, in today's post office, if you want to be a carrier, that's the normal. You gotta go through that, and so unfortunately, that's the way the system is gonna be. But This video is just for the carriers to stand up for themselves, don't destroy their routes. Don't rush their routes. Protect yourself. If you rush, there's a lot of different things that can happen. God forbid you run into somebody that's just a headache in itself. Then they're going to send you to training school. So rushing has a lot of negatives rather than taking your time and not hurting your route. So, all the carriers, please take care of yourselves. Don't rush anything. Whatever your route that you bid on, it's your route. Take ownership of it. Don't destroy the time on it. And if you can't do it in whatever the projections, because the computer, like I said, is not taking into a lot of things into effect. The weather, the customers, whatever different things that can happen on the road. Some customer stops you for questions, animal interference, a lot of things that the computer doesn't. It needs to have an upgrade as to where all these things can go in it. And but what am I saying? It's not going to be updated, and this pressure is going to stay with us, unfortunately. So hope everybody's doing good. Just wanted to touch base on this topic of how carriers are rushed, and everybody, how they're rushed because of the system. Supervisors got to answer to the managers. Managers got to answer to district managers. It's just, you really can't blame somebody because the system is designed that way. So it's just an unfortunate situation for the whole post office, management down to the new CCA. System is designed that way. Now, there are some very good supervisors as well but eventually, they're working within the system, so they'll come down eventually on their carriers to make them rush, So unfortunately, it's designed that way. So hope everybody's doing good. That's it for this Thursday. I'm keeping tabs on that Amazon situation going on with us. My last video that I just made, Amazon, there was an update on what Amazon and is doing with what they're thinking about with this USPS bidding system that's coming out, all those stuff that I shared. So hope everybody's doing good. Please take care of yourself. Remember, don't rush. Has a lot of negative things that can happen, so it's not worth it. Take care of yourselves and protect your routes you're on. Protect the time of those routes. It's a blessing in itself. So please take care of yourself. That's it for now. Until next time, Mailman Saeed out.